So yesterday when I was taking the responsive redesign of Laravel's website, and I wanted to take a lot of commits that I had and merge them together in a few commits. There's a feature in Git that is totally underused and understood called Rebase. And usually when people tell you how to use Rebase, they're telling you about a better way than Git merge to bring two branches together. And what Rebase will do is it'll take all the commits from one branch and it'll apply them over on another branch. There's another thing you can do with Rebase, and it's called Interactive Rebase. And we're going to use that to squash some commits together. So if you take a look at our log, you can see that right about here, this is where I got started. So this right here is the responsive redesign, and I wanted to squash these. So I basically counted down, and I found that this is 42 commits in here. So when you're rebasing, you do git rebase-i, and then you pass it a hash or a reference point that Git can use to know how far back to go for your rebase. So what I'm going to tell it is to use the reference point of head, which is where I am right now, and then go back 42 commits. You could also just put a hash in here. And so it's now going to pull up an interactive rebase here of the last 42 commits. And down here it's actually going to give you instructions. For every place where it says pick, you can instead use one of these. You can reword it, but which means change the commit message. You can pick, which is use as is. You can edit. I've never actually done this before, but I assume it spits you back into a changed Git state, and you can change the files for that commit. Squash is the one we'll be working on the most today, and fixup is the same as squash, but it just totally gets rid of the log message for this particular commit. And again, I have no idea what exactly is. There's a lot of opportunities for you to mess things up too, but what we're going to do here is just to squash commits together. So for example, let's say that this right here, this fix tiny RL and gulp file, is really just a fix on top of this. So we have two options for it. We can either squash this commit into the one above, or we can fix up it. And remember, squash and fix up are the same thing. Squash keeps this commit message, and fix up discards it. So let's say for now I want to keep it. Let's just do normal squash. And that's it. We won't do anything else. So I'm going to save this file, and then it's going to go into a mode that's going to allow me to choose this new commit, which is a combination of those two. So it is the original gulp one, which has this message, and then the later fix one, which has this message. So if I just hit save, the new commit message is just going to be this line and then this line, and that's it. Now if you've ever used Git before, you know that the first line is kind of the title, and all the rest of the lines are the description. So it's possible that this is right. And this is actually right. This fix is just a part of this. But let's say that I wanted a new title that summarized all of them. Well, I can just go in here and I can say, convert to gulp sass, and that's it. And this would be the title, and then these would be individual lines. I'd hit this, I'd save. It's going to rebase through all the rest of them. And once it's done, we can look at our Git log, and you can see convert to gulp sass. So it merged those two together and gave us a new one that says convert to gulp/sass. And so piece by piece, and you can actually just do it all at once. Git rebase-i head ~41 now. Piece by piece, you can just squash them all in. So you look at this and say, oh, this is an error from the last one. I don't even need the specific commit message for that. I'll just fix up. Git rudimentary this. Okay, and you look at these and say, oh, these are all a part of that one. And the good thing is you don't have to make sure, you don't have to make sure that the top one is like the most important of all of them. Just find all the ones that are similar all together in a row, and then squash them all up into the top one. And remember, fix up and squash go up. So when I squash these three, they're going to squash into this one. Because when you get prompted, you save it and you get prompted, then you'll be able to write something. So you'll say, make docs, and this is not right, but whatever, menu headers responsive. And so you just wrote a commit message here for all these commits, and then you're also going to get individual line commits for each of the pieces of it. So let's do this and just take a look at it. And we'll do a full log this time so you can see. Right there. So as you can see, we've got our title, and this is what's going to show up in GitHub. And you've got all the individual pieces which are going to show up in the body in GitHub. And by rebasing piece by piece, we can get to the point where we have an actual squashed log with just a few pieces, and each of these pieces have multiple commits logged up in them. So we went from 42 commits down to maybe 12 or 15. So that's it. I hope this makes sense, and I hope you enjoy using Squash with Git Rebase.